But this is ridiculous.
Jake Paul is such a fucking coward.
Boxing experts are going nuclear on Jake Paul after he shockingly pulled out of his proposed exhibition fight against Mike Tyson. The harsh criticism and scathing insults are raining down from all corners of the boxing world. Paul's decision to back out of facing the feared legend has led to an onslaught of backlash and mockery. Before we get into all the fiery quotes, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you don't miss a single punch.
You're a fucking coward. You're a little bitch. You're the millennial YouTube generation. You just do shit for attention. You're a weak fuck, man, and you're gonna continue to be a weak fuck and make a shit ton of money. That I respect you for, but I also fucking hate you.
Those were the seething words of UFC middleweight contender Sean Strickland as he became one of the first major fighters to roast Jake Paul for quitting his proposed exhibition bout against Mike Tyson. When the fight was first announced, boxing experts and fans alike warned the YouTuber-turned-boxer not to step into the ring with an all-time legend like Iron Mike. But a hyped-up Jake brushed off the concerns, confident he could take on the 57-year-old former heavyweight king. Now reality has hit Jake like one of Tyson's bone-crushing punches. With just a month until the proposed event, Jake has backed out without even giving a public reason to the media. That stunning lack of accountability and cowardice has led to a firestorm of vicious backlash from the combat sports world. And Sean Strickland was one of the first to pour gasoline on the raging dumpster fire.
Jake Paul,
27.
You are a disgrace of a man. You are the epitome of weakness. You are the scum of the earth. The fact that you even have a platform or anything of that nature is a slight on society. You truly make me fucking disgusted. And if I ever encounter you in real life, I hope that I just don't lose my shit and go to prison.
Those are admittedly some of the harshest words you'll ever hear about a public figure. But for Strickland, it's deeply personal given his disdain for Paul's fame-chasing antics that he views as disrespectful to real fighters. From the very beginning, Strickland predicted the Tyson fight would never happen because it was such an egregious mismatch. He thought if it somehow did go down, Jake would get brutally knocked out in one of the most lopsided mismatches in boxing history. I'm not a betting man at all, but I can damn near guarantee you Mike Tyson is not losing to Jake Paul. He might let Jake Paul hit him with a good shot just to show him, but Tyson is a pure boxer, a pure striker. Jake Paul is not. I think Jake gets his ass beat in this fight if it even happens, which I really don't think it will. These were the words of Sean Strickland, who was already furious about Jake Paul. As for why Strickland feels such visceral hatred for Jake, it stems from his elite-level fight experience that has given him immense respect for the sweet science and disdain for Paul's antics, making a mockery of it. Strickland is known as one of the most aggressive, high-volume strikers in the UFC middleweight division. His relentless pressure, durability, and boxing-centric fighting style have fueled his rise up the rankings as a legitimate title contender. According to Strickland, Jake should be grateful he has a platform at all given his lack of legitimate experience or credibility. In his mind, Paul has simply manipulated circumstances through clever marketing to reach a level of fame and undeserved respect that disgusts real fighters. That disgust only grew as Jake kept fanning the flames of his Tyson challenge by securing millions from site fees from Saudi Arabia and garnering major interest from streaming platforms like Netflix and DAZN to broadcast the event. You're delusional if you think Jake Paul has any chance against Mike Tyson. Keep giving him fake leverage to promote this bullshit fight for the money and views. But we all know he's terrified to actually step in that ring when the consequence is getting his ass beaten to a pulp in front of the world. Of course, Strickland wasn't the only combat sports voice tearing into Jake Paul in the aftermath of his Tyson fight withdrawal. Criticism poured in from all corners of the boxing and MMA worlds. Another elite fighter joining the chorus eviscerating Jake Paul was former UFC middleweight champion Michael Bisping.
I don't know why Mike Tyson is doing this. I don't think he needs the money, but he probably wants to get back in there because old habits die hard, because he is a real fighter. He's made from that kind of DNA. And he fancies it, wants to get back in there, go up against a young buck.
As one of the most prominent figures in MMA history, Bisping's insight carries legitimate weight. He remains baffled why a true legend like Tyson would even entertain this ludicrous exhibition against an unproven loudmouth like Jake Paul. After all, Tyson's net worth is estimated at around $10 million, so he's certainly not hurting for cash. And at 57 years old with nothing left to prove, risking further damage against a hungry young kid seems like an unnecessary gamble, even in an exhibition setting. Yet as Bisping pointed out, the competitive fire that made Tyson the baddest man on the planet during his terrifying peak from 1986 to 1990 still burns inside. Fighting is simply baked into his DNA at a molecular level. That's why the boxing world initially respected Tyson's decision to accept Jake's challenge. While most saw it as a one-sided spectacle, there was still a level of intrigue around how much of that classic Tyson ferociousness remains 3 decades later. However, according to Bisping, that intrigue turned to outright disgust once Jake started yapping and promoting the event as a true fight rather than a silly exhibition. Those are deeply emotional words from Bisping, whose reverence for boxing's history and pantheon of iconic champions like Tyson is clearly unwavering. In his eyes, Jake Paul has done nothing to earn the right to even share the ring with one of the most intimidating punchers in boxing lore. Before we continue, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more updates. It's a harsh take, but one echoed by countless other luminaries appalled at both the idea of this fight happening and Jake Paul's sheer audacity in making it a reality before inevitably backing out. In the build-up, Jake did everything imaginable to promote the event and get under Tyson's skin. From incessant trash talk about his age and mobility to posting offensive memes mocking Iron Mike's heated rivalries and controversies from the past. According to boxing legend Evander Holyfield, who had a part of his ear infamously bitten off by Tyson, the YouTuber crossed a line that can never be uncrossed.
Mike is like a snake. He'll pop out on you. He get there too quick.
Those ominous words from Holyfield make Jake's decision to back out seem pretty prudent in hindsight. Infamously unhinged moments like the bite fight show how Tyson can turn into an uncontrollable force of violence when pushed to his emotional limits. By continuously disrespecting and mocking the man who was once deemed the baddest man on the planet, Holyfield believes Jake awoke a vicious demon he would never be able to contain or even envision in the ring. That's the primary reason so many respected voices accused Paul of cowardice and weakness after withdrawing. Jake Paul tried to paint a very different picture in the lead-up to the prospective fight. On his podcast, he boldly proclaimed his ability to not just compete with, but defeat the legendary Tyson. "I want to see how hard he hits. Mike, I really want to see, bro. Let's see all the legends, the myths, because you're Iron Mike Tyson. But I have an iron chin like I literally can't wait to look across the ring and see him and give him a death stare." It's easy to talk an immense game when safely seated behind a microphone. Even in that clip, you can see Jake's wife Tana repeatedly expressing concern about him actually fighting Tyson, asking, "What if Mike knocks you out?" Those close to Jake seem to understand the harsh reality he was downplaying, that stepping into the ring with one of the most violent finishers in boxing history could have catastrophically dangerous consequences. Yet Jake appeared intoxicated by his own hype, convincing himself he could replicate his experience against meager opposition like aging MMA fighters and non-boxers. However, UFC President Dana White believes Jake's lone fight against someone his age undefeated boxer Tommy Fury exposed his true level.
You know, I don't like to see guys fighting it. A 31-year age difference.
White's mocking criticism highlights the notion that Jake has selectively picked his spots, feasting on completely overmatched opponents well past their athletic primes. The few times he's stepped up in competition, the results have been disastrous. In the eyes of most respected boxing voices, Jake's tough talk didn't match up with his actions once a real fight against an all-time great became a reality. He simply bit off more than he could chew and shrank from the moment. Perhaps no voice carried more scorn for Jake's decision to quit than podcaster Joe Rogan, who has built a reputation as one of combat sports' most insightful analysts and harshest truth-tellers.
Savage mode right now. He's in savage mode. If I was Jake Paul right now, I would be shitting my pants.
So did Jake Paul do the right thing by backing out to save himself from a potentially brutal defeat? Or did he simply prove his critics right? Share your thoughts in the comments section.